Welcome, my friends, to a Star Wars review, and it is none other than the 332nd Ahsoka's Clone Trooper Battle Pack. Let's go. And it was released in 2023. Who knows how long this one's going to last? We're starting to see some of the big retailers like Target, Amazon, Walmart. Everybody's discounting this one, so get on it. If you are a huge clone fan like I am, then this is your chance. It actually doesn't come with this clone right here. I added him in because we're going to compare him to the Assault Battle Tank AAT that had Ahsoka and a couple battle droids. It's pretty much the exact same. In fact, when I looked it up, I was really shocked to see that this set, all of the figures are unique to this set, so you can only get them in this battle pack. But I was like, doesn't it look exactly the same? And when you look at it at first glance, let's see if I can get it in here, they look pretty much the same. But then I looked at it and I was like, oh, there's no ear holes in there. So in the tank, this one does not have the ear holes, which there is a grouping of folks that are not a fan of the ear holes unless it's for a commander or something like that, because then it makes sense to put the visors on. But for the standard clone troopers, many folks want it pure without ear holes. I'm indifferent. I could go either way. For the most part, you see it from the front. It looks fine. When you're getting down to the finer details, then maybe it makes sense. But I thought that was really interesting. And so, of course, I look up, and this is a retired set. Now I look at the value of this clone versus the others, and it's off the charts difference. I mean, right now, this is, if you think about it, if you can get this $16 at Walmart, the most a clone here should be individually is about $4. I imagine that they're going to jump into the $6 to $8 range immediately after this retires. It is possible that folks hoard this and the cost of these troopers shoot to the moon, because Ahsoka is a very popular character. Who knows how else the clone troopers will be portrayed here upcoming in the Bad Batch or other properties, as they kind of do flashbacks and things like that. And then people want to recreate scenes. They love building armies. They love recreating scenes. So clones have really, really held their value well. This clone right now is going for between $16 and $18, which is really insane to me. So I have to imagine that even though these are the same, they've got the ear holes, so it's a slightly, you could argue inferior. You could say that they're superior too, because then the playability is there for kids. But again, as a collector, we're not necessarily always here to play with your Lego. So the other big thing, so again, here's a quick look at the troopers. Some of them were able to have these jetpacks. The faces were largely the same, which makes sense. Here's the back. Standard clone trooper back. And then you can put the jetpack on, just like so. And then the other big difference was Clone Commander Vaughn was actually in here. So this also does have a very unique setup. And so the difference with Commander Vaughn, let's see if we can get right in there, is you can see his little insignia right here that gives him the commander status. So there is a named clone in here. So, and I haven't seen his values really shoot the moon yet as well. He's in that $6 to $8 range. But if you're thinking about really amassing a larger 332nd battle pack, one thing you may want to consider, depending on, and we'll get to the build in a moment, is that just the figures alone. So if you got these figures, you got the set for $16, you sell him off for $8. Let's just say you don't get a very good price. You could say you get $6 for him, which I think is a really good deal for somebody who's looking for just Commander Vaughn, right? then you're talking $10 for 3 figures. That's $3 a clone. Right now, there is not a better deal in Lego getting $3 a clone. That is just absolutely fantastic. And you are getting some of these little builds. So here's one of the little side builds. This is definitely a play value build, not a collector build. These parts really aren't that useful, although I do like these two parts right here are nice for the collection. Then the build is this kind of almost like it's almost a microfighter size of it. In fact, it does look a lot like a microfighter essentially. And maybe that's why they're doing away a little bit with microfighters or limiting them this last years. Is that, hey, for these battle packs, they can kind of create these microfighters in them and they can charge 20 instead of 10. Add a couple of extra figures in and away you go. But essentially, this is a microfighter of the swamp speeder, essentially. And at first, I was like, I kind of avoided this pack a little bit until recently because this build looked kind of, I don't know, it looked a little cheap and small, to be honest. But as I look at it, some of the parts are pretty good. Like, you take away these kind of weird looking shooters, and it's a nice little build, and it uses some great parts. There's some playability in here. Here's the underneath. It actually doesn't look too bad from behind. Looks pretty nice from the back, and it's got this really nice lifting feature here. So this can separate. It's actually a 2-seater for a microfighter, which is pretty incredible. And that clicks back in just like that. So I think from a playability standpoint, it's not a bad build, and it's not too bad, especially now that it's on sale. Here's the box art a little bit closer. Again, clone Captain Vaughn, 2 trooper, actually, and you get 3 troopers, and they give you some jump. They give you some of the jetpacks included. So it's a pretty nice feature ultimately. And again, I think these clones are going to be really valuable. So I think this pack immediately upon discontinue is going to slowly rise and very quickly be in that easily $25 to $30 range. So if somebody is buying this, in mass at like $16, you can essentially double your money probably in the next year or two, no problem. It's going to be a highly desirable one. Some of the hardcore army builders may not want ear holes, but I think you can sell off Captain Vaughn at a pretty good price, and because there won't be a ton of people doing that on the market, and you could really get the cost of your Ahsoka 332nd Clone Trooper at a pretty good rate. A couple other things. Here's the instruction manual. Make sure to scan it so you can get those extra insider points. Another thing about some of the parts, boy, there's some really good, really valuable individual parts in here. So I think the small part count is a little deceiving. You've got some really good, unique parts. I mean, look at these gray parts. You get some of these seats, some of these plates. You get the figures, obviously. Again, the other part that's a little underrated, but it is all over the place, is this 1x5 plate. So I did do a video on the building experience of this. I remember freaking out when I saw this part because there are, over 150 sets in the Lego universe right now. I think Lego is starting to expand out how many sets have that 1x5 plate. However, it's not a very common part, and it was only released in the last few years. It's gaining popularity, as I mentioned, but right now it has not been widely available in bulk, and that part goes for anywhere from 10 cents to 25 cents, and you get 3 of them. So this kind of goes back to this idea that if you bought a bunch of these, you could sell probably this for at least $5. You could sell him for $8 to $10. So you can essentially get this set for these clones for free if you played your cards right, is pretty much my opinion. So if you wanted to buy really get a massive Ahsoka clone army, this is probably the best pack for you to get in years, because there's so many valuable parts in here. If you play your cards right, you could sell off Captain Vaughn, except for one of them, right, because he's a unique character. Then you could keep these three and amass hundreds of clones if you really wanted to, if you got dozens of these packs. So it's pretty awesome. I'm really excited. I put a couple more of these on my list. I may I'll pick up at least one more, no matter what. Maybe even 2 or 3 more. I'm just over the moon on this set. I think it's one of the best value battle packs, at least currently on the market, although there aren't very many on the market right now. But it's this one's a must get if you are a clone fan, in my opinion. Again, it's just there's so much value here. I think it's just super hard to pass up in your collection. There were also, lastly to note, there were a good amount of parts right here. Some nice little bonus parting gifts for those extra pieces. And again, the set technically has not been discontinued. It's still TBA. It did technically release in August. I think it was on the market a little bit before that. So, I mean, I don't see this lasting past spring. I do think that they're trying to really capture some revenue with giving the retailers are putting this down at 20-30% off already. But it has to be selling like hotcakes. I don't know. If not, now's the time. Get it now while you can. The AAT, the Ahsoka, AAT with this, and again, probably because the value of the clone trooper here without ear holes is gone up so significantly, and I think this is one. Ahsoka is becoming one of the most popular Jedi in the universe, in the Star Wars universe. So this is a great get. So that's it for this review. Again, this is a great one. I love clones. I'm building my army. I think I'm approaching 100 clones in my army, so it's not a huge one, but I love building these little mini squads. So again, I'll definitely want to get one more pack. So if you like my content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next Star Wars review. Bye for now.